Ladies and gentlemen, if anybody is handicapped and would like a seat, we have about 10 seats left inside the park here. So if there's anybody that's handicapped or would like or needs a seat, please come over and see Steve. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Putnam County's observance of the 20th anniversary of the September 11th attacks on our country. We are also live streaming from Cornerstone Park in Carmel, New York. In the event there are some technical difficulties with the live stream, the ceremony will be available afterwards on the Putnam County website. I present to you the Stephen P. Driscoll Memorial Pipe Band. At this time, I would ask you to remain standing for the presentation of our colors by the Putnam County Civil Air Patrol. Please join the Brewster High School Choir in our national anthem.
and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Detail, recover!
Detail, recover!
Please remain standing, and please join Putnam County Sheriff Robert Langley Jr. in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Detail, hand salute!
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Detail, recover! Order!
At this time, I'll bring up Father Simon Kerpios of St. James the Apostle Church will now lead us in our opening prayer. Father?
O God, our hope and refuge, in our distress we come quickly to you. Shock and horror of the tragic day have subsided, replaced now with an emptiness, a longing for an innocence lost. We come remembering those who lost their lives in New York, Washington, D.C., Pennsylvania. We are mindful of the sacrifice of public servants who demonstrated the greatest love of all by laying down their lives for friends. We commit their souls to your eternal care and celebrate their gifts to a fallen humanity. We come remembering and we come in hope, not in ourselves but in you. As foundations we once true secure have been shaken, we are reminded of the illusion of security. In commemorating this tragedy, we give you thanks for your presence in our time of need, and we seek to worship you in spirit and in truth, our guide and our guardian. Blessed is God's name. His glorious kingdom is forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you, Father. Please be seated. At this point, we will bring up Mr. Robert Fioriello, who will read our list of dignitaries. Robert?
Good evening. We'd like to recognize some of the dignitaries who are here with us this evening. Apologies in advance if we did not see you or failed to recognize you behind your mask. We have with us this evening County Executive Mary Ellen Odell, Putnam County Legislators Joseph Castellano and Paul Yankee, Putnam County Sheriff Robert L. Langley Jr., representing the town of Kent, Supervisor Maureen Fleming, representing the town of Carmel, Councilman Frank Lombardi, New York State Assemblyman Kevin Byrne, and representing the clergy of Putnam County, Father Simon Corpios. We thank them all for joining us this evening on this solemn occasion.
Thank you, Rob. At this point, our keynote, I would like to introduce our keynote speaker, retired New York Police Department detective and World Trade Center first responder, Kristen Jones.
Distinguished guests and fellow first responders, it is with great honor that I speak to you here in remembrance of the loved ones lost 20 years ago today, September 11, 2001. We also remember those who succumbed to their illnesses contracted heroically while working at Ground Zero in the days, weeks, and months following that tragic day. I appreciate your kindness in allowing me to say a few words in their honor. Since the time I was a child, I have been raised to speak freely, honestly, and I have passionately believed in doing the right thing for my fellow man and woman. I see hope and opportunity every time I see our American flag and know that we as free men and women are the heartbeat of our great country. I have many people to thank and recognize today. The committee of volunteers that you see all around you who perpetuate and maintain our memorial, our community leaders who are supportive in our endeavors to respectfully remember those lost. I'd especially like to thank those that made the ultimate sacrifice, not only at the World Trade Center, but Shanksville, PA, the Pentagon, and the U.S. Armed Forces who continue to serve at home and abroad. Also, a heartfelt thank you to essential employees and healthcare workers for keeping us safe during this pandemic. There was no shortage of heroes on September 11th, a fateful day. Men and women who risked their lives every day, stepped further into the unknown and put their lives on the line against the most heinous attacks, and with bravery and compassion saving as many lives as we could that day. We experienced anger in the days after 9/11 at the attackers who murdered our family members, our friends, neighbors, and fellow citizens. We were united as a country and as a people against a common foe. The togetherness that followed was immeasurable. Entire communities rallied together to help one another, no matter how large or small the task was. We were the United States of America. To this day, I see our own community come together to help one another, whether they're strangers, neighbors, families, or friends. I am extremely proud to be a part of this community, and I encourage you all to continue to support one another. We are one nation under God. All Americans must unite and forget about our differences. It doesn't matter if we call ourselves liberal, conservative, independent. At the end of the day, we all have fathers, mothers, brothers and sisters, grandparents and granddaughters and grandsons. We are all fellow human beings and all love our faith and our country. The American flag. It represents our core value to include all people of the United States as one collective group with a single focus of coming together in the face of adversity. It is my great desire to see our community come together and support one another, not just in times of crisis or for one event a year, but throughout the years, every day, day in and day out, like we experienced on that day. We stand together in a crossroads of our country. Politics, racism, separatism, and radicalism all test the strength of our unity. We need to turn to our faith in God and our fellow man to work together to overcome our fears and misconceptions and rise as one country, indivisible under God. Americans have had many circumstances of dealing with tough choices in our country. As we look back, there's one common factor in the solutions. Abraham Lincoln faced some of the greatest challenges that could face any man. He wins a hard-fought presidential election, and in the 16 weeks before he goes to the inauguration ceremony, he has 7 states secede and form the Confederate States of America. Wherever you feel his place among the presidents stands, there is one thing about President Lincoln that cannot be denied. He had faith in God and read the Bible and believed in God's guidance in the Constitution. He led the country out of the Civil War, and he abolished slavery. In conclusion, I would like to ask that we seek common ground before differences, friendship before rivalry, and unity before conflict. Please continue defending and representing our Constitution and help teach younger generations to lean upon the words of our forefathers who gave their lives so that we could live as a free nation. These are men and women who should never be forgotten, nor should their sacrifices. Believe in God and his kindness and learn to look for the good in our fellow man. I hope that I leave you today with a revitalized vision of how our beautiful country can be if we continue to move forward together. It was a bright and beautiful day, and the rest is history. Regardless of the years passing, we will never forget. Thank you.
I would like to, at this point, introduce Eric Gross, who will read our roll call of heroes, and we'll have the ringing of the bell by firefighter Thomas Burke, retired, FDNY. My apologies, I jumped the gun. At this point, we would like to light the candles, if we could have the cadet corps, and we'll have the Brewster Choir do our music.
Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties, above the fruited plain.
We gather here this evening to remember the events of this fateful day 20 years ago. We pay homage to the loss and sacrifices made on that day and on the many days since. We remember all those lost at the Pentagon, in the fields of Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and at the World Trade Center. Now tonight we recognize our fellow Putnam citizens in the roll call of heroes. Firefighter Christopher Blackwell, who served in the highest tradition of the Fire Department of New York. We remember. Firefighter George Kane, who served in the highest tradition of the Fire Department of New York. We remember. Police Officer Stephen Driscoll, who served in the highest tradition of the New York City Police Department. We remember. David Lawrence William Fodor, who served in the highest tradition of Fiduciary Trust International. We remember. Firefighter Daniel Harlan, who served in the highest tradition of the Fire Department of New York. We remember. Firefighter Thomas Kavakis, who served in the highest tradition of the Fire Department of New York. We remember. Firefighter Robert Manera, who served in the highest tradition of the Fire Department of New York. We remember. George Paris, who served in the highest tradition of Cantor Fitzgerald. We remember. In memory of those Putnam County citizens who, while in the course of their duties and service, lost their lives in the aftermath of September 11th. Firefighter Edward Teachin, who served in the highest tradition of the Fire Department of New York. We remember. Battalion Chief John Vaughn, who served in the highest tradition of the Fire Department of New York. We remember. Battalion Chief Thomas Van Doren, who served in the highest tradition of the Fire Department of New York. We remember. Firefighter Glenn Bisogno, who served in the highest tradition of the Brewster Fire Department. We remember. Firefighter Thomas Kelly, who served in the highest tradition of the Fire Department of New York. We remember. Firefighter Charles Fleckinger, who served in the highest tradition of the Lake Carmel Fire Department. We remember. Inspector Donald Feeser, who served in the highest tradition of the New York City Police Department. We remember. Lieutenant Thomas Roberts, who served in the highest tradition of the New York City Fire Department. We remember. Detective Thomas Lyons, who served in the highest tradition of the New York City Police Department. We remember. Commissioner Robert McMahon, who served in the highest tradition of the Putnam County Bureau of Emergency Services. We remember. We acknowledge members of the emergency services who have died as a result of World Trade Center illnesses during the past year. Inspector Justice Lenz and Detective Peter Gianfresco of the NYPD. New York City firefighters Timothy Burke, Joseph Lucino, EMT Renee Sanchez, Lieutenant John Paulus, firefighter William Hodgkins, and Trooper Jennifer Sardnicki of the New York State Police. Sadly, the list goes on. New York City firefighters Robert Kelly, Thomas Manley, Gerald McGibbon, Special Agent Louis Henry Aguirre of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, New York City firefighters Dennis Farrell, George Wilton, Joseph Boyle, Lieutenant William Dabrowski of the Port Authority Police of New York, New York City Fire Department Captain Frank Portelli and firefighters Joseph Daly, James Shaughnessy, James Winters, Patterson Police Department Detective Anthony Locanto, New York City firefighter Captain John Galvin, firefighter Sean Kenny, firefighter Thomas Olkers, firefighter Anthony Malfi, firefighters Wayne Goring, Patrick Whalen, Stephen Riley, New York City Police Department Sergeant William Bronneman. We remember. We acknowledge all uniformed first responders across our nation who on a daily basis put their lives in harm's way. We continue our acknowledgement of those New York police officers, firefighters, and EMS personnel who have made the supreme sacrifice in the line of duty during the past year. State Trooper James Monda of the New York State Police, New York City Police Officer Anastasio Tsakos, Whitehall Volunteer Fire Department Assistant Chief James Brooks, New York State Trooper Joseph Gallagher, Watertown Firefighter Peyton Morse, Suffolk County Police Lieutenant Robert Van Zell, Spring Valley Firefighter Jared Lloyd, Ulster County Sheriff's Corrections Officer Joseph Martini, Suffolk County Sheriff's Corrections Officer Keith Allison, Heartland Volunteer Firefighter Judy Spencer, and Master Sergeant Ronald Owen of the Oneida Indian Police Department. Ladies and gentlemen, we remember. We remember all of our military heroes, past and present, whose service and sacrifice have made our nation the greatest in the world. We want to especially remember all those who have fought and those who have died in the war on terror. Tonight, we pay tribute to all those who fought in this war by honoring the servicemen and servicewomen who most recently made that supreme sacrifice. Sergeant Yohani Rosario Pichardo, who served in the highest tradition of the United States Marine Corps, we remember. Sergeant Nicole G., who served in the highest tradition of the United States Marine Corps, we remember. Staff Sergeant Darren Hoover, who served in the highest tradition of the United States Marine Corps, we remember. Corporal Hunter Lopez, who served in the highest tradition of the United States Marine Corps, we remember. Corporal Dagan Page, who served in the highest tradition of the United States Marine Corps. We remember. Corporal Humberto Sanchez, who served in the highest tradition of the United States Marine Corps. We remember. Lance Corporal David Espinoza, who served in the highest tradition of the United States Marine Corps. We remember. Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz, who served in the highest tradition of the United States Marine Corps. We remember. Lance Corporal Riley McCollum, who served in the highest tradition of the United States Marine Corps. We remember. Lance Corporal Kareem McCoy, who served in the highest tradition of the United States Marine Corps. We remember. Corman Maxton Soviak, who served in the highest tradition of the United States Navy. We remember. Staff Sergeant Ryan Knaus, who served in the highest tradition of the United States Army. Ladies and gentlemen, we remember. Okay. We would further request, ladies and gentlemen, that you keep in mind in your prayers the frontline workers who continue to wage battle against the pandemic. In memory of the 95 Putnam County residents who have succumbed to COVID virus during the past year and a half, 95 carnations have been planted around our World Trade Center survivor tree located here in Cornerstone Park. God bless them all, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
We will now have our presentation of the wreaths.
Detail, hand salute! Detail, recover!
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above.
Thank you. Please be seated again. As we conclude our ceremony, the Putnam Heroes Memorial, thank you all for being with us this evening and celebrating the lives of our Putnam heroes. There are many moving parts in this ceremony, and the Putnam Heroes Memorial would like to thank the following: Patricia Taylor and the Brewster High School Choir, the Brewster Carmel Garden Club, the Carmel Fire Department, the Carmel Police Department, Carmel Flower Shop, the Fraternal Order Police Stephen Driscoll Memorial Lodge 704, the Kent Police Department and the Cadet Corps, the Knights of Columbus Council 6318, the Ladies Auxiliary Council 6318, the New York City Firefighters of Hudson Valley, Putnam Bureau of Emergency Services, the Putnam County Civil Air Patrol, the Putnam County Executive's Office, the Putnam County Department of Highways and Facilities, Putnam County Office of Information and Technology, the Putnam County Sheriff's Department, Radovich and Dean Music, St. James the Apostle Church, and the Stephen P. Driscoll Memorial Pipe Band. We thank you all very much. The Knights of Columbus will be hosting tea and coffee and cookies at the hall across the street. And at this point, the Stephen P. Driscoll Memorial Pipe Band will lead us out of the ceremony and concludes our candlelight vigil. Thank you all very much.